Hey, and welcome, Miss Kira Speaks. Please help your girl out by sticking around till the end of the video. Help me get that. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and share with your friends because sharing is caring. Don't be afraid to give me a like, and please turn on those notifications because between me and YouTube, you just never know. We are here, baby, for Married to Medicine, Season 10, Episode 4, Revenge of the Bride. It is 3 p.m. and Dr. Jackie is headed out the door. Dr. Simone and Cecil are on speakerphone with Toya and Dr. Eugene, trying to figure out, like, what's the 411? What's T? What happened at the bachelor party? What happened at the bachelorette party? Tell me what's going on. I heard that somebody didn't want to pull their pants up. Child. And then the last part of our montage, we get Dr. Alicia. I was like, okay, Dr. Alicia. She is explaining to her husband, I cannot remember this good doctor's name, how Sweet Tea was hulking out on her sister at the pamper party. Ma'am had jumped up on her cocktail table. I was like, I got a little kiki off of that one. So our first scene, we are over at Phaedra's house. It is beautiful. This is a new house, I believe. I don't think this is the same house she was in when she was married to Apollo over on Roja. But Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie show up, and when she opens the door, Dr. Jackie about jumped out of her skin over that little tiny dog that she has. So they take their shoes off, and Phaedra's gonna go get them some little footies. And they sit down, and here we go. Dr. Heavenly's like, oh, this is nice. Like, what is this, like American, modern, English, colonial? I don't even know what she said. And Dr. Jackie was like, now you know I'm a minimalist. So Heavenly says she liked it, even though the shade she was throwing didn't get that memo. But she said that it kind of looked like she put everything that she liked in one room and all throughout her house. So it was kind of, I guess, like she didn't have an interior decorator. Now, I can't verify that. I personally wasn't mad at it. I tend to be a little eclectic myself. That was a little bit too much stuff in the room, but your girl doesn't mind eclectic. So Phaedra comes back with some booties that she done got from some 5-star hotel. And Dr. Jackie wants to know, why would you bring Quad? You know, she's talking about the pamper party from last episode. And Phaedra is two-stepping. She's like, well, now, I didn't bring Quad. I did extend an invite. I said, she gonna semantic you to death. So they kind of sidestep to Jackie talking about how Quad has been MIA and she hasn't reached out because in the past she's reached out. Quad wanted her space. Dr. Jackie's little feelings was hurt. So she like, I ain't even gonna bother. And at the same time, we all remember that Quad was treating the girls like co-workers, maybe Dr. Heavenly aside. So we get it. But good old Dr. Jackie, she's not gonna let her hit the deflection. I think Dr. Jackie was asking her, like, so you still feel good about this idea? And basically Phaedra was like, well, yeah, it got intense up in there. And Quad kind of lightened the mood. I said, oh, she said she changed the atmosphere. I was like, she wasn't wrong, but still, yeah, no, Phaedra. So now it's just sitting down to eat. Dr. Heavenly is asking, like, do y'all really feel like Sweet Tea is ready to get married? Phaedra feels like she's overwhelmed, so that's why she was behaving like that. Jackie's like, well, you know, we all act out when we're angry. You know, she gets to the curtest. You know how we go. But Heavenly's like, yeah, but you don't be, you know, bucking up. We see how Sweet Tea was acting. And we all know that Dr. G will pop all the way off. So she was right in that aspect. They show us a flashback. Dr. Heavenly is basically telling us, like, in the confessional, it can't be too crazy, people. Like, it worked because I'm crazy. And Dr. Damon is not. Now, these are her words, not mine, because we know we're not supposed to use the C word, but this is what she has said, and I agree. You kind of need that balance. You don't need two bullheaded people and that's what I feel like we're about to get with Lateasha and Gregory. Now, Phaedra, she says that she believes that he will change. Dr. Heavenly, on the other hand, says, I hope that she knows what she's getting into. Girl, she know. She know. She don't watch the show. She's a fan. She can act like she didn't, but she's watched the show. She knows now. She was going to try to ignore them Yelp reviews initially and think that she was going to get a different man. But you see, she just sat down with you and said, maybe Quad was right about some things. So we're over at Dr. Simone's house, and Cecil is talking to Miles, aka Cecil 2.0, about school. We hear a C, and comes Simone. She wants to know, what are the plans? When are we planning to graduate? I think he was going to take 2 classes over the summer and get it out of the way, but good old Cecil talked him out of not taking the summer classes. I was like, these two are just definitely not on the same page, and it is so unfortunate to see. And a lot of times, which I believe is the case here with Miles, not so sure about Michael, is the kids can pick up on that and they'll kind of play you against each other, and it's not a good position to be in. She wants to know, what is your 5-year plan? He wants to get his foot into the industry. I think he wants to do something in film. And I was like, okay. Simone wants to make it clear. You have 1 more year. He's like, 1 more year of school, 1 more year of everything. And she ain't doling out not another dollar, dime, nickel, penny. Period. Sisson is in the confessional talking about how he has been in school 5 years and she's over it. She basically tired of carrying him and Cecil. She said she wants to retire, but she can't retire when they playing around with, the girl's good money. She is tired of taking grown men. Meanwhile, Cecil feels like it's generational wealth. I tend to agree. Black folks in general do love to throw their kids out at 18 and want them to swim. And I don't know why we cannot enjoy some generational wealth. I do see some points on his side and some points on her side. Somehow we get into all of this, and I said, did she say they haven't been having the 6 and 10 years? Ain't they been on the show? Baby, I ain't been abstinent that long. But even the son knew. He was like, Ma, you come in and go to sleep. Like, ain't no room for all that. And I was like, ew. I don't even want my kids to know that. But I guess he is an adult. He like 25 years old. And then she's like, she don't mind him having it in the house, but she don't want 2 men in the house. Now, me personally, 5 years is about the standard for graduating. So I don't know why she's really tripping over the 5-year parts. Although I guess she could, because 5 years, a lot of time that's financial aid. That's, you working to pay your way through college. And so it might take you 5 instead of 4. And they're basically giving this money. I don't know that Miles really want to go to college, or maybe he might just want to stay there, or maybe he really is just trying to figure out what he wants to do. And he wants to get his education, but he wants to take his time. Not too sure. I get that she wants him to have a plan, especially since she is the one that seems to be footing the bill, but it is hard out there. Like, I can attest to that. Now, we're not going to get into my college life, but my oldest son is 21. For those of you that don't know, he graduated class of 2020. Okay, you know that was the panorama. Did not have a proper graduation, did not have a proper prom. So while he wanted to go to Clark Atlanta, I was like, not playing for you to go to Clark Atlanta to sit up in my place with the name tag. So we decided that it would be best to do, community college. He wasn't too thrilled about it at first, and it took him 3 years to get his 2 years degree, and now he's off to do his last 2 years, and hopefully that only takes 2 years. But sometimes it just takes what it takes, and it is really hard. When I was going to college, I changed my major, which is why I told him, listen, go in, do you something liberal arts, get all your core stuff out of the way, and then start to. Now I think he does have a track, but he might go and get his bachelor's and decide he want to do something else. I digress. Let's get on back over to Married to Medicine. So it is 24 hours to the wedding. We see Dr. G. We see Lateasha. She is stressed out after the bachelorette party. she's asking how his night was. He was like, his night was great. I mean, there's some little scuttlebutt in the confessional about what had happened. And then she is about to cry again. I mean, she got some bad shades on, but she is about to cry again. Talking about she's stressed. You know, she got the wedding coming in, the families. And I get it. Never been a bride. Almost. Didn't make it all the way down the aisle. But anybody would want their wedding to, well, we're going to say any woman. No disrespect to anybody else that identifies as something else, but may play that role. You want everything to be perfect and everything to go right. Now, she says that she tells him that Quad showed up to her bachelorette party, and he's like, what? She says she was irritated about it. Let's put that out there. He's like, why? She's like, Phaedra bought her or invited her. He's like, why? She's like, child, that's your friend. I'm like, okay, Dr. G, let's get to you first. Quad is on the show. She gonna show up to things. Now, maybe that wasn't the best thing for her to show up to, but judging by her doing her contract late, she had to get in where she fit in and make a splash, give us all something to talk about. So you knew she was gonna show up somewhere. Just be happy she didn't show up to your wedding. And Lateasha, baby, again, you are a fan. You look happier than everybody in that room except maybe Heavenly to see Quad. So now you did say something in your confessional, but we all know those confessionals are taped after the fact, okay? But in that scene, you had your little sip, and you was happy to see the good sis. But moving on. So like I said, Dr. G, he was confusion, and Lateasha tells him about this extra $14K. And honestly, that's what she was really upset about. She was popping off on that sister, but she was upset after the way he was carrying on as to how this man was going to handle this particular situation when she told him she needed $14,000 more. But he was cool about it. He said he wanted her to have whatever she wanted, to have the wedding of her dreams. She was geeked out about it in her confessional, and I was like, I ain't really believe him, but okay. Then I said, okay, you know what? Maybe sir had his ashwagandha or his Mary Jane or something, child. I don't know. But before we get to the wedding, I want you guys to get down in the comment. I'm just going to say it now while it's on my mind before I forget. And you let me know if you see where that extra $14,000 went with that wedding. Anyway, so this is rehearsal time. So she goes in and she, hey, with her family. And I said, oh, Dad don't look too bad. He look a little younger than Dr. G. I said, what is her mama's name? SKIRA. I think it was Sharita, but it was just the spelling of it on the screen. I was like, Black people know they can put names together in some awful kind of ways. So, everybody's, they're practicing walking in and doing what they do. We talk about this 23-year age difference. But she says she been dating. First of all, she says she been dating an older man. I can't remember if she said it now or if she said it a little bit later. Either way, it doesn't matter. But she said that he is actually more youthful than her. And I said, there lies the problem. Not the problem I have with him. He's a psychologist, I believe. Y'all can correct me with that too. I don't know if he's a psychologist or a psychiatrist, because there is a difference. But the way he behaves and the head games he be playing ain't nothing pretty. Child, like I said yikes when she said, he was more youthful. So he steps away and he gonna hit Phaedra up on phone, find out what had happened. Phaedra says that she wanted Lateasha to know that Quad had no issues with her and that there should be no insecurity, on her part as far as that's concerned. And I mean, they have to do the show together, so they do need to find some type of way to coexist. And if we had to have a conversation, she could have maybe set up a FaceTime, but we got to bring the drama for M2M. He says that there's no reason for the two of them to have a relationship. I agree. There's no reason for them to have a relationship because he doesn't have kids with Quad. But like I said, y'all are all on the same show, so we're going to figure out how to coexist. I'm wondering if we're doing a couples trip this year and how that's going to go. We go on over to Doc Eugene's house, and I said, oh, him and I think Avery, they're making breakfast for Toya, and they bring it up with a card and balloons, and it's our favorite color, and it's really, really sweet. And we find out that it's her birthday, and I was like, oh dang, they're having a wedding on her birthday. That sucks. Ashton, I believe, is away in Disney for a band trip. But, you know, he was asking her, like, you know, you don't have a problem with going to the wedding on your birthday? And she was like, nah, it's cool. And I think on the way to the wedding, because on the way to the wedding, they were all kind of, we see them in the car talking, they talk. And she was basically saying, like, if she wasn't on the sand somewhere, like, it was fine. Like, we can go to the wedding. Why not? Lateasha is with her bridal party. It's now the day, like I said, it's Toya's birthday. It's now the day of the wedding. And they start talking about Carlos, her ex, and I was wondering, like, why are we having this conversation now on camera? She says her mom was not too happy with the age difference. Dr. G, or Gregory, is 23 years older than Lateasha and 5 years older than Lateasha's mom. Okay. And whilst I'm doing that, I would say, for me, 5 years is about my safe spot. We can go 5 years up, or we can go 5 years down. Typically, I don't do down. I always do up. But we can do 5 years in either direction. We might be able to go 7 max. And I say 7 because that's always been my rule of thumb. My brother is 8 years older than me. So to date somebody older than him, we ain't even gonna talk about my daddy. But to date somebody older than him, and then what do they be talking about? Just get down in the comments and let me know. I'm guessing that he asked her parents for her hand in marriage. Once the mom saw that they were in love, she was all to the good. Dad was cool, you know. Sir has a good job, so he was on his, you know, he's a good man, Savannah. I was like, oh, if that's all it takes. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, we want you to have a good job, and that he does. But all that other stuff, y'all needed to be watching the show, okay? You just let your baby go off with them. So everybody is talking about the wedding, and then, because like I said, on the way there, I'm just giving you the takeaways from what I got. On the way there, everybody is in their car with their spouse, and forget other will all except for Jackie. We're gonna get into it. And Toya is saying how happy she is, and basically talking about how awful the relationship was with Quad, like he had nothing to do with that, and how they hadn't had sex in 3 years. And I was like, why, sir, why? Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon are fresh off of, it's Alaura's prom. I said, this is not a good day. It's Toya's birthday. It's Alaura's prom. If I was them, I'd have showed up to the reception. I'd have been with my baby girl. I'd have showed up to the reception. I wouldn't have showed up to the wedding. So Heavenly says she texted her and she didn't respond. I'm like, girl, you should have already known. But she's like, you know, they're on their way to the wedding, and hopefully there is a wedding. And we did see Alaura in her dress. It was the blue one, I believe, the first one. If I hadn't said that already, I had already ran over to her IG and looked. Didn't see her date, but it was really good seeing Alaura. Alaura is a really beautiful young woman. So like I said, it's like we watching them grow up in front of our eyes. So we see the ladies start to come in, and the ladies are looking good. Phaedra's got this nice dress on. Was it like a coral color? It was beautiful. You know, Jackie, here come Jackie with no Curtis. Excuse me. Now, he was just here for the bachelor party. But now she says he's back in the, I'm going to say back in the DR. I don't know, because I don't know how they cut this show up. Because first she said he was in the DR on vacation. Now she said he is in the DR working on a project. I said, oh, is that what they calling it? Child, he was just there. So we're in there, we're sitting down. We see Dr. Contessa. She is there. She is looking wonderful. She is still with Dr. Scott. Yikes. She got an invite to that pamper party, and she said, thank you, but no thank you. Okay. So now they're sitting down and they're looking at the program, and Phaedra's like, this kind of look like a funeral. They done blurred the faces out. This kind of look like a funeral program. So they start talking about her and Apollo and how, you know, they had a beautiful wedding, you know, it was top tier, but they still didn't make it. Child, she was stringing together some of them stories that you used to hear on different TV shows, or you heard, your great parents back in the day used to have to walk to school with no shoes and no socks on and hop on one foot to keep the other foot warm. You remember that? That's the kind of tall tales that Phaedra was telling. Phaedra has said that her and Apollo have been together since the 12th grade. That they're not the same age. They're not the same age. I was like, two. Oh, okay. 2 plus 2 equals 5. Because, you got to carry the 1. Like, that's the logic that we was using, child. I was like, okay. So Phaedra is saying that Gregory looks good and he looks happy. Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon are finding out that they are not on the list. Same time Toya and Dr. Eugene roll up, and she was like, what do you mean they have to be? This is Toya. What do you mean they have to be on there? But at the same time, she had a little look of delight on her face. She low-key amused in the confessional, because both Dr. Damon and Heavenly was like, no, don't call nobody. We can just go. And they were like, oh, wait. So they went over, waiting on the side. In the confessional, Lateasha's like, she told Johnny to take them off the list because her maid of honor said that Dr. Heavenly was talking trash. We knew that maid of honor was going to spill. I knew that maid of honor was going to spill the tea. The camera was like, when Heavenly was talking, and that's what your good girl is supposed to do. But now, sweet tea, this is her confessional. Like I said, this is after the fact. So she's like, she on her don't play with me. I said, okay, sis, wait for it. So Dr. Damon, he feels like it must be a mix-up. Heavenly is annoyed. They could be at the baby's prom. Like I said, neither one of them is like, we ain't gonna make no call. Like, if we ain't on it, we ain't on it. So Toya says she feels bad, and Dr. Eugene was like, well, it's your birthday. Sucks for them. Gotta go. And they just go on in and sit down. When they get in, they tell him, like, child, now Dr. Heavenly not on the list. What? Dr. Heavenly on the list. Here go Dr. Simone. That's hysterical. I said, Simone, you ain't So in the middle of all this, here comes Johnny, like I said, the one that Phaedra was helping sue Candy back on Roja, talking about, oh, they didn't want you to be here. They're like, oh, okay, it's cool. So now we pan back into the wedding. And I said, oh my gosh, best part of the wedding. Her nephew runs up the aisle. I said, oh, Kira loved the kids. I said, oh my God, he's too cute. Now her dress did look better. She need to tape them boobs a little bit because she had that little gap. I don't like that little gap. Like, if we gonna do it, we gonna do it. Again, I cannot see where we spent that extra $14K. We would have wanted a little something different with the hair, but that's just my personal opinion. Dr. G, Cecil was saying later on that Dr. G had looks sharp, because towards the end we just about to get a whole bunch of commentary on, everything. So now, as they are saying their vows, in comes Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon. I said, oh, and I don't know if they edited this in. It was Heavenly's laugh. That maid of honor looked none too happy. Lateasha looked like, in her confessional, she's like, how did she get past security? But she's not going to ruin her day. She's going to keep it moving. Ma'am, you don't have no other choice. Toya calling her a snake. I said, child. Like I said, Lateasha's talking about, oh, she's going to focus on her happiness. And they're saying their vows. And I said, Cicero. That's what Gregory's middle name is. Cicero. Child, let me stop, because my ex's middle name was not much better. But I said, they's married now. So it's cocktail hours. Cocktail hour. I think Dr. Jackie had dipped on out. Well, she was there for taking pictures. They was trying to get all the big booties on the round thing, and the round thing wasn't round. And Dr. Alicia said, so you were on the list? And Heavenly was like, nope. One on the list. And she had a recording. They showed it earlier of her asking her recording Johnny, saying that they weren't. But she's like, but you got in? Heavenly's like. So now they're trying to tell her, like, oh, she's mad at you. Heavenly's like, me? She should be mad at Phaedra. She should. But I was like, you too, Heavenly. Now everybody's going through that whole situation. Meanwhile, we see Miss Quad. She's at home. And then in the confessional, they ask her how she feels. And she's like, oh, I didn't know they was getting married today. Like, I ain't get no invitation. And then she was like, congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Lunsford. I said, that's right. And then we see her slip on into her bubble bath and just living her best life. Then, like I said, we get a whole bunch of commentary. Cecil is talking about how sharp Dr. G is. Eugene is, is jokes on the dance floor. Dr. Heavenly is trying to talk to Sweet Tea, who don't want to hear it because she don't understand what she had did. I said, Heavenly played too much. Toya's, reflecting on her wedding in some part of this. And then somewhere after Heavenly was talking to Lateasha, like there was some more reflection, and that's kind of where we ended the episode. So now, next episode, we gonna get a fake funeral service we offer back at Willie Watkins. You guys get down in the comments and let me know how you felt about the episode. Now, I will say this. I am glad we are on episode 4 and we had this wedding and we didn't have to wait till the end of the season for them dragging this shit out. Amen and hallelujah, okay? But now, Sweet Tea, baby, you thought you was doing something on the People's Show. You definitely did. Folks already saw the pictures on IG or wherever of Heavenly at the wedding. So we already knew she was going to be there. Plus, she confirmed, I believe last week on B. Scott's interview on IG that, yes, she did take her off. And then producers told Lateasha, I don't know if they specifically told Lateasha, but basically they was like, no, Heavenly got to come in. So that's why Heavenly was up in there, okay? She tried it. Sweet Tea, she really tried it. And also, Dr. Heavenly had said, and I did watch Carlos and Heavenly, and I forgot to take some notes and give y'all little bits and pieces of that. But she did say that she also didn't want Phaedra there, but Phaedra was responsible for the pastor. So, bloop, okay? And now, before I get out of here, let me just give you my one final thought about Miss Sweet Tea. I think she thought Miss Quad was fire, because that was the rumor. I think she thought that Quad was gone and she was going to come on this show with Dr. G and she was going to slide right into Quad's place and, live a repeat of Quad's life. But how'd that work out for you? I mean, honestly, without the quad piece is really not as interesting in my opinion. Hopefully, doing this on a Tuesday is kind of late, so I want to get it out before Wednesday, because I would like for Tuesday, now that we're not doing the panel anymore, I would like for Tuesday to be my dedicated day for Married to Medicine. If it's not Tuesday, life be life, and Wednesday, Thursday at the latest. So, like I said, get down in the comments, let me know what you thought about the episode, or just let me know that you stopped by, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.